Hi everyone, I hope you're doing great today. Okay, so first of all, I want to apologize for not updating all my YouTube followers so far on what has been going on in America. Okay, so funny enough, I have been doing a lot of updates on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, especially on Twitter and Facebook. And so if you're not following me on Twitter already, please, my Twitter handle is on the screen right now. Make sure you follow me because the battle is on. It is not over yet, so that you can get to know what is going on. You know, updating with video is not as easy as updating on Twitter and Facebook and all these other places. I know many of you don't like Facebook, but at least you can join Twitter and just follow me there so you can get all the updates as they drop, all right? Once again, I want to apologize because I should have actually kept you guys in the loop. So right now, this is not going to be a very long video, but I'll just try my best actually to try to unpack the last 2 days for you, starting from the moment that we went into the elections. And I believe that most of you have watched and seen the evil that is unfolding in the United States of America. This is a foretaste of what the Democrat Party is planning to bring upon the United States of America. And God is not going to let that happen. And we know that God is not going to let that happen. So on November the 3rd, we went into elections very hopeful, very optimistic, and our optimism paid off. Trump was winning like by a landslide. There's no two ways about that. It was very obvious. Everybody saw what was happening. This man was killing it. I mean, I posted on my Facebook page the margins by which Donald Trump was winning this election. It was unprecedented. We're talking about margins that were like 3, 4, 5 times more than the margins by which he won in 2016. And not even to talk of the fact that since 1960, no American president from the Republican Party has won this amount of minority, that is black, Latinos, and minority votes as Trump has won in this election. The mainstream media news will not tell you this. So the man did so well, and we were expecting that in no time they were going to call Donald Trump the winner of the elections. And all of a sudden, the shenanigans began. All of a sudden. And the first place we saw that was in Pennsylvania. And now, I want to show you something that will shock you, because there's a guy called Josh Shapiro. Josh Shapiro is the Attorney General for Pennsylvania. And way before the elections actually happened on November the 3rd, Shapiro had already told the whole world that Trump was going to lose in Pennsylvania when the votes are tallied together. How did Shapiro know? He actually called the elections for Joe Biden even before anyone went out to cast their vote. This is to tell you how much fraud these people planned out before the elections. It was unbelievable. Does that surprise you then that when Donald Trump was shocking them in Pennsylvania and was winning by a margin that they could not stand? The man was winning by almost 600,000 to 700,000 votes. Immediately, boom, Pennsylvania did something that I'm not sure anybody has ever heard of or seen in the history of American elections. They immediately stopped counting the votes. How do you stop counting votes and say that you're going to continue tomorrow? In the middle of the process, out of nowhere, because Trump was leading and beating Joe Biden silly in Pennsylvania. The people don't want anybody who's going to ban fracking, who's going to destroy the oil industry, which Biden had admitted on live TV during his last debate. You expect that Pennsylvanians who are living off of the energy industry would just go and vote Joe Biden overwhelmingly. That's not possible. They knew who they wanted to vote for. And so they were voting for Trump overwhelmingly. And suddenly they stopped counting. And guess what happened? This was about 3 a.m. or so. And then about 1 or 2 hours later, we now hear that nearly 138,000 mailed-in ballots showed up. Thousands showed up. And they claimed that all of them were for Joe Biden. All were for Biden. Statistical impossibility. How do you have over 100,000 mailed-in ballots come in? Not one was for President Trump. All of them just went to Joe Biden. That's not possible. That's the fraud right there. This is why they campaigned so vigorously during this election for mail-in ballots, because they knew they were going to manipulate it and use it to try to steal the elections. And I will explain to you how they are doing that now. God has exposed them, and at the end of the day, Trump is going to take his victory. Let me tell you what they do. So we have this on record. It's all over. You can follow me on Twitter, like I said, and you will see all the proofs right there. There are videos surfacing now showing how that these people are mailing in ballots that contain names of people who died many years ago. So dead people are majority of the people voting for Joe Biden. He has more voters in the grave. We are seeing the proof everywhere. Somebody who was born in 18-something voted for Joe Biden, who died in 1920-something. They all voted for Joe Biden. People who were born 1900 and died many years ago all voted for Joe Biden. That's what the mail-in ballot is meant to be. And that's why they refuse to allow Republican watchers to enter into the counting places where they were counting the votes. This is what has been going on, unfolding before our eyes. They refused to let them come because they knew they were about to fraudulently steal an election in the United States of America. The Democrat Party is a curse. They brought America to its knees. They've done it for the last 4 years that Trump has been in power, and now they have just added the icing on the cake of their lunacy and their wickedness and their evil machinations. Look what these people have done to America. Destroy the credibility of American elections completely. You can't even expect stuff like this to happen in Nigeria. Nigeria can be this nasty. But the Democrats brought it to America. Ghetto style, big time. What about Georgia? What about North Carolina? What about all these states, Wisconsin? In Wisconsin, can you believe that the number of votes counted is way more than the number of registered voters? This is happening in the United States of America, all Democrat-controlled states. Fraud everywhere. Georgia, Trump has been winning Georgia for a very long time, and they refused to call Georgia for Trump. But they were quick to call California even before anything was counted in California for Biden. It was only about 26 or 27% of the votes that were in when Fox News went ahead and called Arizona a stronghold of the Republican Party. They called it for Joe Biden. Fox News, the one you call your conservative news channel. And I laugh when people say that Fox is for the conservatives. It's a lie. Fox is only a controlled opposition news channel. Okay, so I will explain to you, because the owner of Fox News, Rupert Murdoch, actually supports Joe Biden and said that the world and America is ready for a Biden presidency. He said that. And so you expect Fox to be on the side of the Republicans or be on the side of the true conservatives. No, they're not going to be on their side. Because you see, what happened before Trump showed up on the scene is the globalists, the Illuminati, controlled both parties. They controlled both the right and the left. They had both the Democrats and the Republicans. That's why there was no difference between George Bush Jr. and Barack Obama. When this other person comes, he will continue from where the other person left off. This is how it's always been. So they make sure they give left-wing news channels for the people on the left, and then right-wing news channel, Fox News, for the people on the right. So controlled liberalism or leftism and controlled opposition. So Fox is actually a controlled opposition news channel. They are not truly for the true Republicans or true conservatives. They are there to fulfill the wishes of their masters. And don't forget, like I told you, their master is still the same master that is Lord over the people on the left. CNN and Fox News, they are all controlled by the same master. That's why on this election, the colors had to come out. Even CNN did not have the audacity to call Arizona for Joe Biden. Fox News did it to show you how dangerous these people are. That's why many people now are switching over to Newsmax and OAN, One American News. They are after Trump because he's an outsider. There had never been anybody who came to become American president without having to go through this controlled left or controlled right. Trump came out of nowhere. The American people voted overwhelmingly for him. The deep state and the globalists and the special interests did not have any hand in his presidency. So that's why they hate him. That's why Fox cannot love him. That's why you have a bunch of Republicans who are actually terribly against Trump. So it's not only people on the left that hate Trump. There are so many so-called Republican, conservative establishment figures who hate Donald Trump because he is a complete outsider. That's why the only thing that Trump has now is God and the American people. That's why you see the American people rising up in their numbers to support this man. I want to show you a tweet from New York Times. So the New York Times tweeted this. They said the role of declaring the winner of a presidential election in the US falls to the news media. The broadcast networks and cable news outlets have vowed to be prudent. Here's how it will work. Can you imagine? They gave themselves the role of calling the winner, of declaring the winner of an election. Where is the electoral umpire? Isn't that why Fox News and all these people are calling states that are for Joe Biden even before it is clear that Biden has won, and refusing to call the ones that Trump has won? So they are mailing in fake ballots to make sure that Trump loses his ground, and they are taking original ballots belonging to Trump and throwing them in the trash. About 50,000 just discovered in one of the states. Another one, 600 of them. This is how they're throwing away ballots they have Trump's name on them, and taking fake ones and assigning them to Joe Biden. This is happening live. That's why Trump people said, no, we're not taking it anymore. And they decided to rush down to Arizona. So as we speak right now, Arizona, that Fox called for Joe Biden very early in time. I think it was even on the 9th of November the 3rd. They called him for Joe Biden already. So it went blue. Right now, even AP and CNN have admitted that Arizona has moved from blue to white. In other words, it's now a toss-up. It could go either way. It could go either for Trump or for Biden. For a state that could go to Trump or Biden, why then did they have to rush to call it for Biden? It's no longer blue as we speak, unless something has changed from the last time I checked. So a state that will come to a point of being a toss-up was already called for Biden, and Biden had claimed the 11 electoral votes there. It's part of the 264 you are seeing on the screen for Biden. But the ones that Trump has won convincingly, they refuse to call it for him because the media believes that they have now become the gods who will declare the winner in the US election. So whoever they say has won, has won. Whoever they say has lost, has lost. So the Trump team have declared. They go into court. Yes, they go into court. They will challenge every challenge ever. That's why they haven't called Joe Biden the winner. That's why they haven't declared him the winner. Unprecedented in the history of the United States of America. 3 solid days after general elections. US doesn't know who the winner is. It is because the whole world is against Donald Trump. The people who want to give you one-word religion, the people who want to give you one-word government, the people who want to make sure they microchip you and forcefully vaccinate you, the people who want to depopulate you, these guys are standing by from the US to Europe to China to everywhere. They all want this one man down. That's why I said the only thing that Trump has now is just God and the American people. Trump's only hope now is God and you. We must pray for this man. Joe Biden did not mince words when he said clearly that once elected, he's going to shut down the United States of America. Imagine life under such a person. Look at Europe. Look at the UK. They're already shutting down, hoping that Biden will win so that he can also follow suit. And the moment Biden does that, it is game over for everybody around the world. Once America kicks, you are going to be forced in Africa to get vaccinated, whether you like it or not. Bill Gates' vaccine will come. Every single thing will begin to happen. That's why we are praying for a second chance. And that's why I told you that Trump's re-election will signal that God has approved a second chance for us as Christians, as Africans. Imagine our life when Biden shuts down the economy. And everybody's compelled to do the same thing. Lagos, Nigeria has already started signaling that they could actually go for a second shutdown because the slave master in the UK has already gone for a shutdown. 1 month national shutdown. Crippling businesses and destroying life as we know it. This is what they want to bring on our world. The new world order. The end of the world as we know it. That's what is at stake here. It's not sentimental. It is truth. It is fact. It's why I keep telling Christians, you need to get involved no matter where you are on earth. Pray and pray and pray like you never did before. We must keep the prayers up because God is answering. I am more optimistic now than ever that God is going to flip this for Donald Trump. He actually won. They stole it. Can you believe that North Carolina, where Trump has literally won, suddenly decided that they will no longer update their votes until November the 12th for an election that took place on November the 3rd. You will not update until the 12th. How is this even happening in modern day America? Because he's winning there. They just don't want Trump to come back to office. But the American people want him back. Okay? So they keep calling the votes for Joe Biden, refusing to call for Trump because they know if they stop updating, it won't be clear that Trump has won. So they have to stop so that they will be able to go and look for mailed-in fraudulent ballots that they can use to stuff it up so that when they come back, they'll tell you, oh, Trump has lost. Biden is now winning in North Carolina. This is actually happening. You can look it up. It's happening till November the 12th. At the same time, North Carolina was moving their own to November the 12th. Nevada was stopping theirs. If Nevada was so cool, if they were so sure, they would have already called him for Biden and given him that 6 to give him 270. Then the media would declare him the president, the winner of the presidential elections, even when so many of the states they gave to him are still being contested. The Trump team is in Wisconsin saying they have to recount the votes in Wisconsin. The Trump team is in Michigan trying to uncover the massive fraud there. All these states have been given to Biden. Why are they still allotting these electoral college votes to Biden when those states are in contest? Fraud, if you want me to name it for you. Happening live in America, not Nigeria. Not in Somalia, in America. A lot of fraud that took place in this election you will not see in any third world country. And this is America. This is why God has to intervene and save the United States of America and our world. That's why you have the protests everywhere. The protesters are already on ground waiting because they know that this election, as far as they're concerned, is going to go Trump's way. They know it, but they feel like the media could help them to snatch it. That's why those guys are there. They're not as violent right now, but we've discovered so many pellets, so many heaps of pallets of rocks for protests, the same ones we discovered during the George Floyd protest. We've discovered many of them across the United States of America, where they are waiting for the results to be finally announced in favor of Trump. Boom! America will not know any peace for the next few months. They're waiting. Even when it seemed as if their own candidate is trying to win, why are they still on the street? Because they know what is coming. You would think that now that they say, oh, Biden is winning, they would have all gone home to go and rest. I mean, what are you rioting for anymore? But they are there and they are increasing in number, fighting with police in New York. Why are they there? Ask yourself why. They know what is coming. That in the end, if the electoral commission does not call it for Trump, the courts will call it for Trump. He is going to return for a second term in office. And that's what I know by the special grace of God. The fact that this has been prophesied to happen does not mean we're just going to sit down and fold our arms. No, we have to pray. I have been praying, and I know many of you are praying. Please don't stop, because God is still God, and He's going to prove Himself mighty in this election.